The Monte and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence. Collision Specialists. 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
I think 24. Hey, how are you? This is my third attempt at doing the show with you, for you. I'm very grateful for the response. I'm enjoying it very much. I'm trying my best to grow. My career in Mexico is on a major upswing, 100% away from wrestling. I'm about to do 2 television shows down here. Great stuff. And as soon as I'm allowed to talk about that in public, I will. The tequila product that I'm involved with, you can see the logo right there, Tesca Azul. It's on sale in the United States, and it's definitely on sale down here. That's going to be a major part of everything that's going on as far as live events for us down here. Things are just great. So this version of this program in English is kind of catching steam, and I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun for me, and I'm hoping to develop it more and make it something bigger than it is. I'm starting from scratch in English, and I'm just very grateful for all that's going on, and I appreciate your time. So there's a ton of questions, and I believe it's time to just jump right into those things, and let's see what we can do. Let me try to be fancy here and segue into something. How about that? As soon as I get it together and I learn how to use my Stream Deck, where I can just have it here in front of me and make those transitions and stuff, make it cooler. I want to do that because if you're investing your time in watching this, I want to make sure you have something to watch that's different. All right. Question number 1. Claire G, what happened to your daughter's mother? Will you ever get remarried? And do you even believe in marriage? Well, my daughter's mother is awesome. We're great friends. She has a very successful business down here. She's a therapist. She uses astrology and reads cards, and she's a yogi. So she's very advanced in her art, and we're great as friends. You know what I mean? Will I ever get married again? No, that's just not who I am. It's not in my cards. I'm on my own journey, spiritual journey, ritual magic, and all that kind of stuff. I've been practicing a ritual of celibacy. I'm going on my 5th year. So that's pretty extreme, but it's really a personal journey as far as a certain type of magic that I'm involved in, and I really enjoy it and I love it, and it's great. So that's just kind of what's going on there. Do I believe in marriage? I was raised a Catholic, Greek Orthodox. So the romantic notion of marriage and a family was kind of something I grew up with. So I have that image in me. My marriage didn't work because my ex-wife married the wrong person, which was me. And she was very brave to leave that marriage. And it was the best thing for her to do. I suffered a lot. It destroyed me for a long, long time. But it was probably the greatest thing, the greatest gift of love she ever gave me was let me also find my journey. And I'm much better off alone, and I'm grateful for that. But the experience of being married was incredible. Um, Forgive me, I don't mean to do that on camera, but it just happens. Do I believe in it? Yes, I believe it's made for some people. Whatever, unfortunately, because of the internet and everybody having an opinion and everybody being so self-righteous, I think it's taking away from the romantic concept I have of it. But I do believe if you find your partner and that means something to the both of you, that commitment, that word, that piece of paper, I think it's an essential part of growing. And why not? If it works for you and it makes you feel good, of course. It doesn't necessarily work for everybody else, but you're not marrying those people who don't agree with you. So I wouldn't even pay attention to them. But do I believe in it? Yeah, for sure. For some people, 100%. Stu from Tennessee, I believe. What are your feelings on the defunding of the police and thoughts on Joe Biden? I think it's wrong to defund the police because it's another thing that we're being manipulated by. And if you're into conspiracy theories or you want the truth, again, unfortunately, the United States media, Canadian media, everybody knows more than everybody else, and everybody's right and everybody else is wrong. And their opinion is the only one that matters. That's why this show is called Perception, because I say things to help me justify or understand my perception, and hopefully it'll change yours or help you change yours, or just, it is what it is. I think defunding the police is wrong because the police is an institution that has a symbolism in cultures that at least guides you down a path of law, staying within the perimeters of the law. When you're a child growing up, doctors, firefighters, policemen, those are things that we see the same as we see our parents, meaning those are symbols and images that are supposed to be trusted. Whatever your version is when you get older, that's your personal choice. But I think defunding the police is wrong because whether there is corruption and things like that, police are only human beings. Maybe their training needs to be graded. Maybe there needs to be more in their institution, more mental health education so they understand their stress levels and they see somebody on the street, and instead of just judging and assuming this person is a criminal or doing criminal activity, maybe there's a mental health issue there. I don't think defunding the police is correct, also because the level of aggression on the street is quite high. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I really believe in law enforcement, which is why I became a law enforcement instructor through Krav Maga, the martial arts that I practice. I just believe that society needs police, whether the majority of the people are in favor of it or not. It is an institution that without it, I believe things would be quite chaotic. And I understand police brutality and the judgmental behavior that goes on, but there is also a lot of good that's done. There's a lot of pedophiles out there. There's a lot of sexual assaults that happen. Women are being abused, and you just can't have wandering bands of vigilantes. Also, that I also believe in. You do need some type of place to go for security. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't really want to get too deep into it. When you talk about Joe Biden, I don't have an opinion on him or anybody else. I have an opinion on me. And however I handle the distractions that the world is throwing my way, in my ability to handle myself as a person, I'm more worried about what I'm doing to be positive in my circle. Mr. Biden, good or bad, whatever his hidden agendas are, I don't really know. And I'm not really paying attention to American politics because it's all a distraction anyways, on many levels. That's a league that I don't want to play in. That's a book I don't want to read. It's part of society. I have to be in touch with that. But he was elected. The people who elected him believe in him, and the people who don't, everybody's going to have an opinion, negative and positive. I prefer to think of him as a human being who chose a path in life that's put him where he is, and karmatically, when it's his time, there will be things that he has to be accountable for, I'm sure. But I'm not really focused on him. I'm more focused on the community and how we're adapting and getting through this together. So I don't really have an opinion on your president, and that's what I think. So yeah, Steve Henderson, do you regret wrestling and would you do it differently? I don't regret it at all. No, I wouldn't do it any different because it's made me what I am today. It's opened the doors that it's opened for me, and it's made me be able to find the path that I need to be on to be a person with a great quality of life and to be an individual who is doing what he wants to do without offending or hurting anybody. So I learned how to make mistakes and understand that those mistakes weren't mistakes, that they were lessons to be learned. I see that now. So I don't think I would like to change anything I did in my career, because wrestling is a very, very difficult life to live. You know, the politics in wrestling are brutal, which is why there are so many people with addictions, broken hearts, broken homes, suicides, things like that. It's not easy. It's a real mind fuck. And the people who are in control of it are kind of evil. And I wouldn't want to be around that again, because not only have I outgrown it, it's very infantile. I don't need it. I don't respect it, but I did learn from it. And the people who are dedicated to only that, they must be miserable. And they paint this picture on Instagram, whatever, like that, like, oh my God, we're superstars. Well, actually, no, you're not. You're actors in a company on television, and your time is very limited. And you all are emotional to get there. But as soon as they let you go, it's their fault. It's their fault. They don't know. They didn't care. They didn't care. Well, evidently, you have a part in that as well. If you were what they were looking for to fill a role, then you would still be there. I just don't understand why people on the outside, or people who are let go, or people who get there and think they deserve to be there and they're the greatest thing that ever happened to sports entertainment, become bitter once they're no longer welcome. I don't want to be around that at all. So that's why I would like to keep things the way that I did. I'm very proud of who I am today because of the mistakes I made in my past. Does that make sense? But thank you for the question. Dr. Z, can you tell the story of the day you found out you had dementia? I can't fucking remember what I did 10 minutes ago, and you want me to tell you something that happened 10 years ago? Okay. I don't have dementia. I am in the first stages of having full-blown Alzheimer's when I become more advanced in age. When I found out, when I was diagnosed, I was very relieved, because at least I knew who I was fighting. I was addicted to pain meds and things like that because nobody knew my condition. I was taking all these kind of antidepressants and every other drug under the planet. I was 345 pounds. I'm 196 right now. So I was dying. So because I was in war, but I didn't know who the enemy was. Once I got diagnosed, it was a relief, because at least I knew my opponent. Nutritionally, spiritually, and mentally, even physically, I'm doing every single thing I can to understand and adapt who I need to be today to have a quality of life, to not let that affect me. So even though I'm in those stages of Alzheimer's, and I literally don't remember what I did an hour ago. There's absolutely no way. I had one of the best radio shows of my life last night, and I don't remember it, but I know I did it. So what I had to do was accept the fact that I'm different, and I have this obstacle in my life that everybody calls a sickness, but I don't look at it that way, and I'm cool with it. So as long as you accept you have this obstacle and this condition, I think you're going to be okay if you can deal with it. I'm not stressed about it. People look at me different, but I look at it like I have a superpower, because I'm doing things that you still can't do, and you don't have the condition I do. I'm trying to turn it into something motivational. I just won't quit, and it doesn't affect me at all. And the greatest thing about it, forgive me, I get this. I got this thing. I just don't know what it is. I absolutely am a fanatic for PlayStation, just a fanatic. And I got the new Call of Duty, and I can play it over and over and over and over and over again. And even though I use it for memory work, because it's repetitive, it's new every single time. I have certain books that I absolutely love that I reread, because even though I know I read it, I get something new out of it each time. And I probably don't remember it, but I know my subconscious has retained all this stuff. So I'm completely cool. I'm good. I'm good. And yeah, I just refuse to look at it like, oh my God, poor him. What are you talking about? I'm awesome. Pablo, what do you do to stop being angry and how do you control it? Well, I learned how to not let anything make me angry. And I have taken if you want different results, you need to ask different questions or do different things. So, pro wrestling was something that made me very angry because of the stupid people that are running the companies. So, what did I do? I stopped hanging around those people and I stopped putting myself in a position where they were able to dictate what I wanted to do creatively. So, how do I stop being angry? I just stopped putting myself in positions or around people who provoke that sensation in me. And at the same time, through my studies in spirituality, I understood my ego, and I don't give anybody the opportunity or the privilege to make me upset, sad, or angry. I just refuse to. I'm in control of my emotions because I analyze things before I react. I listen to understand. No, I listen to overstand, not to respond. So I really realize that most people are lost, and I can see that they're being led by emotion in their interaction with me. So I need to be smarter, and I put my magic practices in play on every conversation that I have. I also am very, very careful with the words I use when I'm in a conversation. I rarely start a conversation. I usually let people come at me so I can kind of see where they want to go with things. And I am calm constantly. So that's kind of how I do it. Can you tell me the story of healing when you saw Sting at the convention? Yeah, that was a huge moment for me because I have heard things that Sting has said about me over the years. And I thought, how much of that is really true? And probably a lot. And at the same time, I realized that if there's any resentment on his part, I probably caused it. So once I accepted that, I also realized that I've said some things sarcastically over the years. And it's like, it was so wrong of me. It was really wrong, regardless of what Sting thought, said, or did. If it wasn't for Sting, I wouldn't be remembered for my very short career in WCW. I had a career way before I went to WCW and evidently way after. But the time there, it's an iconic moment in the last 2 to 3 decades of sports entertainment, the Vampiro Sting feud or the Sting Vampiro feud. And I'm so grateful to him for everything that he did to me and for me, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had that push. So when I saw that we were going to be on the same convention together, I literally stood at the door. I didn't even really pay attention to why I was there. And I stood at the door, and when he came in, he saw me right away, and I extended my hand and I said, I really need to say this to you. And people were listening. I said, I don't care who hears this. It's on my heart, and I need to talk to you. And he listened to what I had to say, and I think he was blown away because he wasn't expecting it. And I was just very honest, open, and apologetic, and I was sincere. And I explained to him that even though I have the Alzheimer's thing, I remember certain things that have marked my life. And one time, he took the time in the dressing room to speak to me about Christ and things like that, because he was going through his own stuff. And I said, you're not going to remember this, but I remember, if there's anything I remember from our time together, it was that conversation. And I went on and on about it. He gave me a huge hug, and he said, we're great. And I said, Sting, I have a small collection of things that I'm leaving for my daughter when I'm not here anymore. And I had a picture of him and I said, can you please sign this for me? He was stunned, and he wrote some scripture on it. And it was a very emotional moment for me because I've apologized and made up for a lot of things I've done in my past, but there are certain people that I haven't been able to do that with, and he is one of them. So it was a great moment for me, and I'm very grateful he offered me the opportunity to do so. So that's that story. Alex from Beaufort, how many languages do you speak? Is it too late to learn a new language? Well, let's talk about what is a language to you. I'm going to give it to you from my version of a ritual magician. it's never too late to learn anything. And if you go back in time and you look at the Tower of Babel and things like that, the human race all spoke one language at one time. There is a story, an urban legend, that the gods, angels, were really jealous of the human race. So the good angels started creating different tribes throughout the world where symbols and certain, if you listen to Italian, Spanish from Spain and Spanish from Mexico, it's pretty similar as an example, that you can kind of pick things out. The reason that happened was so that they would confuse the gods, but they would still be able to kind of understand each other. So the gods at that time wouldn't be jealous anymore. So it's a really great story and I love it. How many languages do I speak? Well, vocabulary, I speak so Italian and very good Spanish and English. But the language of the universe, which is communication through emotion, through the look in your eyes, through the tone of your voice, through body language, through leading by example with actions. That's a language that is international, interspatial, intergalactical, whatever you want to say. That's my favorite and greatest language to speak because I can go to Australia, I can go to Japan, I can go to China, Hong Kong, Guatemala, I can go anywhere in the world. And with a smile, a look in the eyes, a handshake, body language, a hug, I can communicate with anybody. And so can you. You just have to understand that speaking different languages, Japanese, Chinese, Italian, French, English, there's sounds. The way that your muscle memory works and the way that your brain is trained, it's like a punching combination. Number three in boxing is 1, 2, and a hook. 3. Number 2 is 1, 2. So that's universal. That language of fighting. 2, bang, bang. 3, 2, bang, 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 bang. When you hear fighters in the corner, their trainers call out those numbers. 3, 3, 4. So it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a way that you communicate. So that's done by memory work. That's not intelligence. Don't confuse with memory work or habit for intelligence. Intelligence, the form of communication, that is an art form. So the most important language I speak is that one. Pretty cool, right? What do you do to protect yourself from COVID? Do you believe this will ever go away? I don't know. I mean, will it go away? It's been here since the beginning of time. They just changed the name and the scenario, and it comes and goes every couple of years, right? This thing, am I certain that it's man-made? 100%. Do I need to get into that right now and have a debate with you? Absolutely not. That's not what this is about. Again, this is my therapy. My studies are pretty deep. My circle, my pool of information, the people that I'm involved with, it's serious. Some of it's dangerous. I can say certain things and I can't. Certain things you need to see to believe, and then you make your own decision why this is called perception. So I truly think that COVID is a distraction. It's a play. It's for what's to come, to see how we're reacting, how we control it, what happens, what comes and goes. You need to look every time in the world something is happening here. There's an arrest, or right now the big thing in the news is those stupid Canadians who went to Cancun and were fucked up on the airplane, and right in the middle of the pandemic, smoking dope, drinking, fucking around, taking their masks off on a flight. That's a sensation, and the whole world is talking about it. And the Canadian Prime Minister is not letting them back in the country, and all the airlines are not selling them tickets. Is that truly world news? Is that truly world news? Now look at that, and then look what's happening in other places in the world that's not getting mainstream media. The war in Kazakhstan, for example. Their president went on the news yesterday, and he said, I gave this shoot to kill without warning order. Annihilation. So that's a distraction. So what do we need so that we don't pay attention to that? More COVID. So how do I protect myself from COVID? Well, I'm a vegan. I eat very healthy. My mindset is awesome. I meditate many hours a day. I'm constantly in the right state of mind, and my body is in the right frequency constantly. So my immune system, both physically, mentally, and definitely spiritually, is very, very, very protected. And I refuse to watch the American and Canadian news. I refuse to watch any of it because that fucking is cancerous. That's heroin. That just will fuck you up. So that's how I stay away from it. And I haven't had it. And I do tons of social work. I'm in the streets. I'm dealing with lower income areas in Mexico where nobody's protected. And I haven't been sick at all. So I just do it that way. You have a lot of tattoos. Do each of them have their own meaning? And can you explain a few? Yes, I have many tattoos. Do they have their own meanings? Yeah, they all do. Like these stars on my forehead. I'm a fan of the image or the philosophy of the rebellion of Che Guevara. Che Guevara is an iconic figure here in Mexico and all of Latin America for his role in the Cuban Revolution. Did he do good things and bad things? Of course. Is it ethically correct to go into that right now? Obviously not. Was he a murderer? Yeah, sure. Was he a revolutionary? Definitely. But just that thing of rebellion, it's a little thing, right? It's one of the meanings behind that. Of course, the star, it's another part of the universe, and I'm just into that. Plus, it looks really cool. And the Star of David, which was actually an alien spaceship, but we'll talk about that another time. So anything to do with that, that's what those are there for. I have a cross right here, for example, under my eye, because the cross for me is a symbol because of my religion, my faith, and the way I was brought up of hope and commitment and humility. So I have it right there on my face so that every time I look in the mirror, I do not forget to say thank you to my creator for the opportunity to still be alive. I have the Guardian Angels logo on my hand because I'm in the Guardian Angels. I have my wrists, like my hands were cut off and sewn back on, in tribute to Frankenstein. This one, I don't think you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. This guy, you can see a skull with a hat and a leather jacket. That's a World War II fighter pilot. That was the original Hells Angels. Those were the original Rockabilly Rebels. So I got that when I was like 13. It's kind of faded now, but it was one of my favorites and first tattoos. And it's too sad for me that it's kind of fading, but it's also very cool because I've had it almost all my life. So that one's there. As when I saw the Stray Cats on TV when I was 13, I went the next day and got a tattoo because Brian Setzer and Slim Jim Phantom had tattoos, and I just thought Rockabilly was the coolest thing. Rockabilly. So yeah, I got that one. I got that LAMF, Like a Motherfucker. It's a very important album title from Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers because that era of music, that band, that sleazy rock and roll was pre-Hanoi Rocks, pre-Guns N' Roses, right around the time of the Ramones, Teenage Head, New York Dolls, that kind of rock and roll. Really, that really was a big, huge moment in my life. So Like a Motherfucker is a big thing for me. I got that, BLS, Black Label Society. I'm a major fan of Zakk Wylde and his philosophies in the band. So, and I'm part of the crew. So I got that. So those are some of them. Yeah. How's that? Okay, that was that one. Let's see. Do you still play music? And if you do, how do you remember the chords and lyrics? What do you think of today's music? Any favorite artists presently? I got a lot of bands that I listen to, especially being on the radio. Well, there you go. I had a really bad experience in wrestling. Somebody fucked up and destroyed the tendons in this part of these fingers in this hand. So I can't play chords like I used to. My fingers, it just doesn't work. The hand is deformed. But in saying that, I was never a great guitar player anyways. I just like to make really loud, fast noise, and I love the Ramones. So my playing is that kind of playing. Green Day, the Ramones, Chuck Berry, that kind of stuff. The last band, one band I tried I was a singer in Las Vegas, and I was really at the height of my sickness. And I had an iPad, and I used to put it on the front of the stage, and I used to put the words right there so I would forget the words. and the band was really getting frustrated with me, but I was dealing with severe mental health. So I forgot everything, and that didn't work for me. So that was a difficult experience. But of the bands I like and the music I play, I'm kind of okay with it for some reason. Now, I bought this guitar for therapy, and a lot of traditional rock and roll people say it's cheating, but I don't really give a fuck. You know, it's to help my mind, and I love rock and roll. So it's a great guitar, and it has a system. The company is called Frets a Lot. So let me turn it on. You can see what I'm talking about. So what it does is it lights up. You can see the lights moving. Pretty cool, right? So I put in a song, like it has an app and or chord structures, and let me see if I can turn it on so you can see how it works. Frets a Lot. And what it does is it lights up where I got to put my fingers. It's pretty simple. Let me see.
Welcome to our brand new 21 lesson player study where we talk about the amazing Angus Young.
I'm not sure if anything will come up. I'm not sure what's going on.
He just showed you the bits.
No. Well, anyways, what happens is you put your guitar lesson in here. Like that was AC/DC, so I was gonna hopefully it lit up. But if you put it in back and black, it'll show you the chord structure where your fingers need to go, and you learn the solos and you learn everything and all the keys and all that. So that helps me with muscle memory, and I practice with my chord structures and all that kind of stuff. But my playing, because I can't like it's really hard for me to make the chords correctly. But the other thing is I usually have my guitar very low, like the Ramones. So I play when I learned punk rock, I was reading a book on how to cheat Metallica. Like this is an E chord, right? But instead of using 4 fingers, if I just took 1 finger and I covered all the strings except the E, or I made a bar chord with that same 1 finger and I took the other finger and I just covered the other note instead of making a traditional chord, and I took that finger out of there and it kind of looks like that, you can play anything. And I just you can play any song you want. So all of the Ramones are, if you just learn that little trick, all the Misfits, it's all that. So the music I like to play, I play for fun, and it's really loud, and it's a lot of volume, and it's a lot of downstroking. Like I don't play like this, you know. I just in one direction, and you just get this wall of sound. So when I'm playing punk rock, that's how it's done. If you look at the pictures of Johnny Ramone, his guitar is so low that it's even the strap is below his belt buckle. So you can't really play those chords if it's so low. You have to find a way. And the way is like that. So that's what I do for guitar. And the company is called Frets a Lot, Z or Z-E-L-O-T. And they install the system on your guitar, and it lights up, and it comes, you know, depending on the scale or the position on the neck, it changes colors. So It's a phenomenal system. I absolutely adore it. And it's really helped me with my mental health. So that's what I do for guitar playing. Because I don't remember shit. Who did you idolize growing up? I think I idolized scenarios or stories more than an individual. Punk rock as a movement, the ideology behind the New York scene and the England scene. I was into the scene. Bram Stoker, he was somebody I idolized, or the character Dracula in the story. So I was more influenced by a story or an urban legend than an actual individual. Do you fear death? If not, what is your biggest fear? I don't have any fear of anything. And the reason is because I've already done everything and I've crashed into the wall more than once. So I don't have room for fear. And the reason I don't have room for fear is because if I work 9-10 hours a day and I sleep 6 hours a day, and then I spend 4 hours a day eating, moving around, that's 20 hours. That leaves me 4 more hours in the day. Of those 4 hours, I need to motivate. I need to study. I need to learn. I need to be a father. I need to be a leader. I need to be a businessman. There is no room to be afraid, be negative, to fight, or be a fucking stooge and get into arguments with everybody. So I'm very aware of the most important currency I have, and that's time. And I'm not going to spend it on something that doesn't have any value. Do I fear death? Absolutely not. I don't want to die because I love being alive and I love my daughter and I'm going to miss things and I'm sure they'll miss me. But I'm not afraid because I know I'm only here for a reason and I know where I come from. And I truly believe the awakening and the way I live my life now, I'm preparing to go back to where I came from. So once my time is done in this physical human frame, I will return to the light or to a frequency or vibration. I truly believe we're immortal and I will be back here again. And I just want to make sure that I'm in sync so much with the people I love the most so that hopefully our frequencies will find each other once we're gone from here. So that's my opinion on that stuff. So those are some questions. They're great questions. I hope you enjoyed the answers. I loved it. Please keep it coming. I'm very much into the psychology that I'm studying and practicing. I'm very much into being alive and doing what we're doing together, co-creating. I appreciate everybody who watches this, and I hope it does something. I'm not sure how this program will turn out, but I really had fun making it. I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.